For today's class, we're going to start down on our back. So move to a wall, have some sort of surface where your legs can go up and have that support. You can also find a piece of furniture to do, or you can use a strap around your feet to hold them there. But for full rest and relaxation and to really assess the back body, it's quite excellent to have a wall. So see if you can find a wall and go to it. When we go up to the wall, you move to the side of the wall, and then I find that it's best if I lean a bit over as I'm coming on to my left. I lean on my left elbow and I push more of my seat towards the wall before I come down. It's just easier than adjusting once you come onto your back. So you try to get both of your sitting bones on the wall and then roll over onto your back. Heels on the wall, and just make your adjustments. So you want to be here in a comfortable position. So for me, there's a certain amount of flexibility that lets my legs rest fully on the wall, but this doesn't mean that this is a better position for everybody. In fact, you may wish to have your seat quite far back from the wall because you don't have the space at the back of the legs. And so if you try to force it, that's not going to bring the ease that we're looking for in the body. So let's just come into a position, move yourself accordingly. Don't feel a stretch reflex at the back. They should be relaxed in the position. So see that you're relaxed. I'm saying this over and over again because I want you to understand the style of ease that we're looking for with this particular practice. Okay. Find your position, take your arms, maybe they're out to the side with the palms facing up, or maybe your hands are on the belly. We're looking to do less and we're assessing, so pay attention to your breathing. We notice the breaths as this is my breath in. And this is my breath out. And as you come to a natural rhythm of breathing, start to focus, bringing the mind to the different parts of the back body to feel, what does it feel like as it's in the ground? What do both sides of the hips feel like? Do we feel the hip bones at the back of the hip bones, that part of the pelvis? Do we feel them even left and right? Do we feel the pelvis evenly from the sitting bone part of the pelvis to the hip bones, evenly this way down? Come into the sensation of the lowest back ribs, and what do we feel here? Do we feel the left or the right more in a downness into the ground, or one a bit more tight and one more relaxed? And assess the body this way for a few more moments, noticing shoulder blades and the head and the shoulders and the hands. And just breathing in and breathing out. Understanding that this assessment is very, very important for us to have a learning in the mind and in the body as we reclaim these pockets that have a motor sensory amnesia. So we look for these areas that we don't normally see or feel, or the areas that we feel so much that there's so much gristle around it. So we're looking for these things to learn from. The more you pay attention, the more the body will understand new ways of moving. Because we're always looking for the path of movement that is easy. And if we remain blocked in some areas, we have to go around the area, and it's less efficient and sometimes causes pain. Okay, let's just now take the right knee in towards the chest. So just glide this right foot down along the wall, bringing your hands holding onto this right knee. And as you're holding onto this knee, there is just an easy, heavy weight, like a a heavy weight, like a draped wet towel heaviness on this shin and the knee, and just allowing this to be in the chest, how it can be with ease. Breathing. For a few breaths, let's just see how much more we can relax in the back body. Seeing if the chin can slightly humble in or tuck in. If not, elevate the head by putting a blanket or a book or something underneath, or a block under the back of the head. And let's just slowly take that right foot back to the wall, glide it up by its partner, and pause. Notice and breathe. What does the back body feel like now? We'll begin to move the left leg, so feel the sensation of the foot as it's moving down the wall. This left knee comes into the chest, draping and hanging the arms on. No pain. Back off to any sensation that feels like pain, because it will be counterproductive for the practice today. Slowly put the left foot on the wall and glide it back up. And then let's take this right leg back down, and as we take the knee over to the chest, let's take it a bit more over to the right armpit. And as we have it to the right armpit, let's build a little bit of a load. So let's hold the leg in place, lean the back of the skull down, the lowest back ribs down. Resist like the leg is trying to escape to come back up. Not a big argument, but some resistance to build the muscles equally around the whole joint complex around the leg and the knee. Relax it completely while you're here. And then take it back up. Pause. Left knee in and down and out to the armpit, and just build the load as you hold the leg in. The leg's trying to escape to some degree. The chin tucks in. You feel the base of the skull and the lowest back ribs down in the ground. And then relax here completely. Just hold and support this leg. And then come back up. Assess the sensations of the back body and the ground. There is no good or bad. Okay, let's bring both of the knees in towards the chest, and for this one, we'll just allow it to be easy and just hold and support and feel kind to the legs. Just let them be into the chest where they'd like to be. Pause. Taking the feet back up. When we're laying on our backs like this, there's a potential to iron out the back body. So some of the inequities of the muscles that we use while we're standing and working and moving, they get moved down onto an equal plane. So we allow this to happen. Also, with the feet above the head, there's this reversal of the blood flow, and we wash more into the brain and into the organs. So there's a different flushing system, and it's a different style of cleansing to the mind and to the body. Okay, let's bring both of the knees into the chest and then bring them out to the armpits. Now possibly you can hold on to the inner arches of the feet. If we can't reach the inner arches, we're going to hold on to the shins. Wherever you can hold on to the shins, and we'll use a little bit of a down pull, but then the legs are going to try and go up to the ceiling. Okay, so feel this resistance. Tuck the chin slightly, lean the back of the head down to the ground. The lumbar's down, the lowest back ribs are down. We're feeling the resistance. The feet try to go to the ceiling. The hands are holding them still. We're finding room for breath. And then stay here and relax completely and just feel the sensation of the back and the sensation of the legs in the sockets. Breathe. Take the knees together and take the feet back up to the up onto the wall, and we'll just pause here another couple breaths. Okay, let's do that one more time. Taking the feet down, holding the shins or the inner arches of the feet, leaning the back body down and long, just checking to see that the chest isn't only just lifting, that it comes down and in as well. The lowest front ribs snug down to the low belly. Find your resistance. Relax here, stay, pause. And then take the feet back up to the sky. With this next move, hopefully what you've got your legs up is stable so that we can push on that, see if that's true, that you've got a stable support for your feet. So we're going to just take the feet down, just to not a full perpendicular or parallel shin. We're taking the feet up a bit. We're going to do kind of a bridge roll up to lift our hips up. So feel the sensation of the feet on the wall. Inhale, lengthen so you feel like the tail's going forward or towards the wall and a little bit up. Exhale, lifting to come up. And you may end up wanting to walk the feet up a little bit higher. And we're just going to stay in a, so don't look at this point, but come down and look. We're just going to stay in an easy position. We're not extremely elevated on our shoulders. We're just going to do a check and an assessment to see what does it feel like with the weight just on the shoulders like this without the hips being fully lifted to the ceiling, without the hips trying to be a bit more over the shoulders. So we're easy. And you feel that there's this weight on the shoulder heads and that there's some space for the neck. So your neck and your head doesn't have a lot of weight on it. Okay, slowly, maybe take your heels away from the wall, gives more space. Lift the fingertips to the ceiling. Slowly, one vertebra at a time, lower down. And really feel the extra length of the tail as it's lengthening and curving up. So you feel the feedback, the biofeedback of one vertebrae at a time, like a little zipper. And then you come down and pause. Taking a moment to breathe and feel the back. Relax as you can. And then let's do that one again, taking the feet onto the wall. Inhale, lengthen the lumbar down and the tail long. Exhale to lift. And this time, when you find that comfortable position, let's really extra lengthen through the low back. You can use your hands to support. Keep your chin in alignment facing up towards, or your nose facing the knees, the chin into the chest. Lift the rib cage, or what really happens is it's moving down to the ground. And you're using this as a support so that the neck is not being applied with heavy weight. So now we might feel like we're a bit more of a slant and there's a bit more weight on the shoulder heads. So much length at the low back, and feel a contraction right here around the pubic bone. Feel that contraction and draw the knees a little bit closer together so that they're very parallel and not splayed out to the sides. Okay, lift the heels, slowly come down one vertebra at a time. Feel that massage. Feel the biofeedback. So gradually you're down, paused. Have the feet up, arms out to the side or hands on belly, and have a moment of assessing the back, feeling what energy has changed after doing that inversion. What's changed in the back? Are things feeling okay? Sometimes when we've been laying like this with the pelvis on, like I've got 2 mats, but maybe that's not enough, and there can feel kind of a dryness in the back. So we're going to try and hydrate that. You can come onto a blanket and that will also help, but let's just bring the knees down and just go slightly side to side. So I've got my elbows to the side and that's supporting me, taking the knees just a little bit side and a little bit to the other side. So my feet are kind of like windshield wiping onto the wall. And you can turn your head in the opposite direction that the legs or knees are going, keeping the pelvis moving as one unit. Breathing, infusing the movements with your breath. And then come back into the center. And either rest with your legs back up the wall or with the knees just easy into the chest. Have a couple moments of stillness. So now if your feet are up, bring them down so that the feet are side by side, and then turn so that the soles of the feet are smushed into each other. And just of their own volition, the knees are going out towards the sides and towards the wall. Feeling a downness of these front ribs and the lowest ribs in the lumbar spine. Chin slightly tucked. Again, bring more height to the back of the head if the chin is like this. If you've got this tension, we want this to relax in and lengthen through the back. Okay, so now let's keep the lumbar down and close the knees together. Make a back bend so that you feel that the tip of the tail is trying to go to the ground and the lumbar lifts off the ground slightly or is trying to elevate. And then smush the lumbar down, take the knees out to the side. Bring them in, curve the back. Smush down, take the knees out. Just go back and forth. We bring the knees in with the lumbar down. We make a back bend. Smush it down, go out to the sides. Keeping the lumbar smushed down, bring the knees together. Make a back bend. Smush it down, knees out to side. Lower back still down, knees come in. Make a back bend or this pelvic tilt. Smush it down, go wide. One more, come in together. Make a back bend. Smush it down, knees go wide. And then just pause in an easy position. Maybe the knees are in, maybe the feet come up. I'm taking my feet back up just for a pause, another kind of last real draining. Noticing the effects of small movements. Sometimes we can feel really profound tingling or awarenesses or channels being opened. See if that's the case. Okay, bring the feet back down if they're up, and we're going to move the knees over to the side. So if you're able to stay with your bum to the wall, just see if that's the case, or otherwise you're going to have to move a little bit higher up. Just adjust yourself. But we're wanting to keep the knees mostly together so we can keep the width at the back of the spine. So taking the knees over to the side and bring the right arm up, and then allow the right arm to go extending out to the right. So when we do this, we can feel a bit of a cross-line communication. So my right hip is my up, or the top hip, and we feel this region of the hip to the opposite shoulder. So the shoulder of the left arm, or the armpit of the left, we feel them gathering together across the line of communication. And then from this lower hip, the left, cross line to my torso to the right shoulder, we feel that extending. So see if you can feel this extension and a little bit of expansion. Keep the lumbar quiet, and most of this is happening with the thoracic spine. We're not pushing it, we're just pausing where we open. We're breathing as there's nowhere we need to be. Cultivating concentration with something very small. Okay, bringing the right arm up. Slowly taking yourself back into the center, and let's do a pause and let's do an assess. Either keeping the knees bent or taking the feet back up to the sky, arms out to the sides or to the belly. Bending the knees in towards the chest and letting yourself just roll over onto the right side. Build up this cross line of communication. So we're finding the left hip to the right shoulder or armpit. They're gathered together, and we're feeling the extension or length on the other side. And just opening where you can open and just staying in that noticing place. Even noticing what it feels like in the mind to be here or to not be here. The left arm coming up, and then just as a bundle coming back onto your back body. Just feeling what that feels like. Pause. So let's walk ourselves a little bit away from the wall now so that we can have our feet on the ground. Just take your time with this movement. And once you come here, now that you have a comfortable distance away, the heels are from the sitting bones, an even distance away that the knees and the feet are, maybe about hip distance from each other. Relax and feel heavy through the back body, letting the weight come down evenly through both sides of the pelvis. Let's bring the hands behind the back of the head. We're just clasping the hands and keeping the elbows out wide to the side for now as we just lengthen with gravity, and then start to feel that the muscles around the sitting bones scrunch up into the body, and then they come all the way up, pushing the lumbar down and the lowest back ribs down, and then gradually it lifts your head and your elbows come closer together. You come into a little tuck, still feeling the connection around the pubic bone and around the sitting bones like they're gathering and cinching in. But they're not just cinching in there, they're communicating all the way up through the spine as we tuck the head in and the chin comes in towards the chest, and we feel even and long and wide through the back body. Keeping some of this resistance as you slowly come down, like you're coming down but trying to stay up. Let the elbows go wide, relax the low back, let it come back to a natural curve. So we really fully relax and feel what this feels like in the body. And let's do this again. Feeling it coming from the sitting bones, they scooch up and in, pubic bone gathers. Let that ripple all the way up the spine, and it brings your head up. Elbows come closer together so you feel this really wrapped around quality of the upper back and the side of the ribs. The armpits feel like they're coming forward and up. And we're tucking the chin in, and there's a little bit of a resistance, so you feel this widening and an engagement of the muscles through the back body and the back of the neck. With a little bit of that resistance maintained, we lower down evenly to come down, relax completely, elbows out to the side, if that works for your shoulders, and relax the back. Let's do that one more time. Okay, scooching up and in and down and long and curling, curving, slight resistance. Slowly lowering down, keeping the length. Come down and relax completely. Release the hands and the arms. Okay, let's roll over onto our side and come up this way with the assistance of our hands. I'm going to use a blanket for my body, for my knees. I open my blanket out once, so I've got a good soft landing. It just feels nice to be kind to the joints. Okay, so I've got my knees here, and I'm taking myself into a tabletop or all fours. And we'll just move through a few cat-cow movements. So once you feel like you're settled, let's start by first just being neutral in the spine. So we want to feel that we're not sagging in, or we're not over plumping our upper back. We're just feeling the upper back is straight and the lower back is trying to be straight. So we're feeling the head in line with the spine as well. Bring the mind to the tip of the tail. And then let's start to bring the mind to each vertebrae as you lift them up to the ceiling. So let's just see if we can lift one vertebrae at a time, going from the lumbar to the middle of the back to the thoracic, and then drop the head at the end. Plump up the back body and feel quite wide and long. Keep the head down, keep the upper back plumped up. Now move the tail up towards the ceiling, and just see if you can go one vertebrae at a time to the ceiling, then the lumbar, then the middle of the back, and then starting to move the upper back, and then the neck and the head. So you feel like the head's the last vertebra to move. Keeping the head up, move the tail down, the lumbar to the sky, middle back to the sky, upper back to the sky, pushing down with the hands, dropping the head. And reverse tail to the ceiling, lumbar down, middle back down, the upper back down, lengthening forward with the chest, lengthening and lifting the head. And then one more where we take the tail down and the lumbar goes to the sky, middle back, upper back, dropping the head. So as we're here, stay like this. Contract all the muscles into the bones, all the muscles. So we're in a fairly easy position, but just contract them all, snug them, snug them, snug them. Come back with the hips through this resistance of snugging the muscles to the bones, snugging, resisting like you're trying to stay up, but you're coming down anyway. And then come down and relax completely, maybe even taking the knees wide if that suits. Make a pillow for the head and just let yourself collapse. If it doesn't suit to collapse by having the body front facing like this in child, go back to your back and bring the knees into your chest this way. But be very relaxed and heavy through the body. Bringing the awareness of breathing into the back body. And what does it feel like with the front body being squished? What does it feel like to be breathing here? Noticing the quality of your breathing, the sensations in the body. And if you could picture the thought waves in the mind, what would they look like now? You can stay like this, or you can slowly use the hands to come up to sit. Namaste.